After we have our 3 weeks of interest sessions, we are very intentional about finding service-related courses or service learning components of courses that our students and myself can go in and speak to them about the experience. We're all about finding places to really have great exposure for our program, but we want to make sure that we are in those spaces that may have service-minded individuals. So we will present at these courses. Again, we'll take sign-up lists, take down everyone's information that may be interested in learning more about the experience, and then again, following up with personal messaging that we find to be very productive. A lot of times we build a bridge to a program, but we don't necessarily make that full connection to give the student the opportunity to fully commit and to enjoy that experience. So we're very intentional about, again, the personal messaging aspect. So this person does feel that this is an individual thing, that they are valued as the individual, but also to really sell those perks of, hey, this is a great space for you to make friends. This is a great space for you to really start to build your life here, not just at the University of Memphis, but also within the community. So after visiting some of those courses, we also like to visit as many scholarship programs on campus that we can. So a lot of these scholarship programs on our campus require some type of service hour requirement or service experience requirement. And so we find this as a very fruitful place to solicit some individuals and students that may be interested in completing their component of their service requirement or their service experience. What we really sell is, hey, if you have a certain hour requirement, this is a great way to get 30 to 40 hours of service in any given week, because we do know that time is a big, downside for some of our students in committing a full week. A majority of our students work a great amount of hours here at the University of Memphis, and so we are very cognizant of that, which brings us to our cost. We have one of the lower costs that we feel our students can make, where we charge only $100 for our domestic trip and $1,000 for an international trip. We believe this is very important as an access point, but we also use this access point as a great marketing tool. A lot of students may be looking into options to go on spring break elsewhere, but you can't find a cheaper experience than what we can offer, and that's something that we definitely sell and push very hard amongst our students. We do see a lot of our participants coming from these scholarship programs or these service-related courses because it does translate well to either their needs, their future career, or even just their overall experience there. So once we do go through each of those meetings and find opportunities to really plug the program, we then do our process. So our application actually opens right at the beginning of the semester at that welcome weekend day of service, which occurs right before school starts. And so we have a rolling application all the way until mid-October. In mid-October, we do group interviews. The group interview process is something that we find fruitful because you get a great look at how students interact with each other, what their teamwork looks like, and being receptive to challenges and being flexible to situations that may come up there. After we do our group interview process, each participant is selected to go on a specific trip. They do not know the location of the trip, only the theme that they have expressed interest in. So before the end of the semester, we have a down payment fee for each of our trips, which really helps us understand who is actually committed to the trip. One issue that we have faced in the past, and I know a lot of colleges and universities are facing the same, is either a high dropout or no-show rate. So if we can get those students to pay a very small deposit, they've got a little skin in the game. And this really helps us engage those students to further follow through on their commitment to the alternative break experience. As we move into January, we do reopen our application for any students that may have dropped. If they have not paid their deposit, we do give them an opportunity and even send out scholarship information if cost is a factor for them. So once we figure out how many spots that we do have open, we reopen our application and kind of do the same thing again, where we invite students to interest sessions, and then they can even sit in on a pre-trip meeting, which we think sells the individual a little bit more in terms of, hey, we've got this group of people, they are committed to this experience. Look, this can be a fun and fruitful experience for you. So that kind of helps us fill any remaining spots that we may have, and is really productive, as students may have missed some of the initial deadlines. And we run that all the way up until February the 1st, as we need to really solidify our plans and our space at that point. So that's really where we kind of cut off our recruitment deadline, unless we have a last minute spot that comes available. So that is really the gist of kind of how we recruit and begin to solicit our students for this awesome experience. One thing that I think that we do that maybe not a lot of universities do is we like to engage our participants in the spring each week with some type of community service event, whether that is holding an event amongst their team on campus, or going out as clusters of different teams. We find that keeping these students engaged between the time that we get back in the new year all the way up until the trip is very important. We have seen our no-show rates amongst those students that engage in these opportunities go very low and go down. And so we do think that it is highly important for our students to engage throughout the experience, not just in pre-trip educational meetings, but also outside of the classroom space, to really sell them and to also make sure that they are still all in on the experience. Additionally, it does help with the camaraderie and the relationship building that we think is so important for this trip.